From the time we enter the workforce, we're handed a very specific equation for success. Put in more hours, do harder work, get a bigger paycheck. We are conditioned that wealth is created by renting out our time to someone else. But treating your time like an hourly commodity creates a mechanical problem. It forces you into a constant state of hustle, overloading your brain's operating system. Instead of making clear decisions, you react to immediate pressures, driven by anxiety and the need to just get through the day. Entrepreneur and investor Naval Ravikant recognized that this linear approach is a trap. He argues that true wealth creation doesn't come from working harder. It requires an entirely different, non-linear mental framework. Escaping this cycle doesn't mean moving to a mountaintop to meditate. It starts with a highly practical daily exercise Naval calls choiceless awareness. As you go about your normal day, you simply observe your environment and your thoughts without assigning any judgment to them. You don't label things as good, bad, better, or worse. You just watch them happen. If you write code, you're familiar with the concept of running software in debugger mode to spot errors as they occur. You can do the exact same thing with your mind. By staying highly alert to your own reactions, you can actively audit the source of your mental noise in real time. When you audit your internal monologue this closely, you discover a glaring anomaly. Close to 90% of the thoughts you have on a daily basis are rooted in fear. It's an underlying worry about losing status, wasting time, or falling behind. The release mechanism for this tension is surprisingly mechanical. The moment you neutrally acknowledge a fear without trying to fight it, it naturally dissipates. You drop the tension of who you think you should be, and your mind returns to its baseline state of relaxation. Achieving this state of internal peace provides a mandatory, practical business tool. You cannot effectively steer a massive financial ship if you are blinded by your own panic and ego. A mind cleared of fear operates with clinical objectivity. When you stop reacting to anxiety, you can begin an honest audit of your own reality, stripping away what you wish were true to see your actual strengths and weaknesses. Naval calls the result of this audit specific knowledge. It represents the intersection of your authentic, innate personality traits and a market that needs those exact skills, the kind of knowledge that feels like play to you but looks like work to others. Look at two different markets. Building a massive classifieds network requires slow, deliberate patience over decades. By contrast, conquering the social gaming industry requires an aggressive, hyper-competitive nature. If you possess the first trait but try to compete in the second market, you will fail. When people ignore this alignment, they force themselves into roles they resent. Failing to objectively assess how well your true personality fits the market you're entering is a direct path to the most common startup failure modes and early financial ruin. Once you identify your specific knowledge, your most critical job is protecting the space you need to execute it. If you let mundane obligations creep back in, the mental noise returns with them. Naval uses an aggressive tactic to defend his time, setting an aspirational hourly rate. Long before he was wealthy, he picked an absurdly high personal valuation, setting his time at $5,000 an hour. This number functions as a ruthless filter. If a task costs less than your aspirational rate, whether it's returning a broken speaker or setting through a pointless meeting, you immediately outsource it. You ignore it or eliminate it entirely. To cut out even more noise, you apply strict binary rules to your decisions. The first is simple. If you are staring at a pro-con list and you cannot decide if you should take a deal or hire a person, the answer is automatically no. The second rule is to run uphill. When evenly split between two equal choices, deliberately take the steeper path, the one requiring immediate short-term pain. The brain avoids discomfort, so forcing yourself up the hill usually guarantees the long-term gain. Setting a $5,000 hourly rate and walking away from marginal deals might look arrogant from the outside, but they are strictly necessary defense mechanisms. They protect the single most valuable asset a founder has, the capacity for clear, unclouded judgment. With a peaceful mind, your authentic specific knowledge identified, and your time strictly protected, you reach a baseline state of readiness. Historically, leverage meant using labor or capital. managing messy networks of employees, or convincing someone to give you money to multiply your decisions. Both involve massive friction. But the modern economy runs on a new leverage entirely: products with no marginal cost of replication. This concept started centuries ago with the printing press. For the first time, an idea could be duplicated thousands of times and sent across the world without requiring any additional physical labor from the creator. Today, we have the ultimate iteration of this idea. Writing code and building media networks are forms of permissionless leverage. You don't need anyone's approval, funding, or followers to build software that serves the entire planet. This is how you earn while you sleep. You upload your specific knowledge into a digital format, and an army of servers and algorithms executes it on your behalf 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. When everyone with a laptop has equal access to an infinite amount of digital leverage, the playing field changes. Hard work alone no longer separates the winners from the losers. The only remaining differentiator is the quality of your judgment. Because code and media multiply every choice you make to an infinite degree, the math of success becomes highly skewed. You get countless shots on goal, but you only have to be right once. Navigating those high stakes brings us right back to where we started: the necessity of radical, objective honesty. As the physicist Richard Feynman pointed out, you must never fool anybody, and you are always the easiest person to fool. Exponential wealth is the inevitable mathematical result of taking infinitely scalable digital assets and steering them with a fear-free, perfectly calibrated mind.